press the tape recorder.
That says recording. Good to go.
That would be great. Cool. Thank you very much. Right. So first and foremost, thank you for taking the time out of your day to join this annual general meeting of Hamilton Business Improvement District. Everybody's really busy, particularly now with the announcements from the First Minister with everything opening up again next week, which is fantastic news. So it's just a big thank you from me for joining this afternoon. So the agenda is there. I'm not going to read it all, but basically I want to get across what we've been doing in the last financial period, but particularly what we're going to be doing. I think it's really important for the Improvement District to articulate to levy payers what it is we're actually going to be doing in the next kind of period, particularly after opening. So that's what we'll be going through now. Before I go any further, for anybody that doesn't know me, my name is Malcolm, and I'm the manager of the Business Improvement District in Hamilton, and I've been doing this job since October 2020, so quite new to the job role. I came from a background of retail, hospitality, operational management, area management, and all that kind of stuff. So it's been really a great experience to come to Hamilton and do this job on behalf of the businesses in the town centre, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here. So okie dokie. Now, as I say, doing these things over Zoom, not the ideal scenario, and I'm not one for wanting to overdo it with PowerPoints, but there's going to be lots of PowerPoints to try and articulate what's been going on. So apologies for that, and this is the nature of having to do this in this format on this occasion. So let's crack on at pace, and as I say, there'll be a section for questions. So first and foremost, what on earth is a business improvement district? Most of you will know, some of you won't know. So basically, it's a business-led partnership. There are 40 improvement districts in Scotland, 259 in England. Hamilton, our town, is the name of the business improvement district here in Hamilton. It started in 2012. We get voted in, hopefully, every 5 years by the businesses. So if we're doing a good job, the businesses vote us back in, and that's kind of how it works. So really, we're here on behalf of the businesses to do work for the businesses. We are not South Lanarkshire Council, although we do have a very good working relationship with them. So there's certain aspects of town centre life that we can influence and we can lobby and everything in your behalf, but we can't directly change. But there'll be a lot more of that as we go along. The BID is funded really primarily through the levy that we get from our businesses, and there'll be a little bit more about that in a second or two. So the BID area, basically it's the town centre of Hamilton, 377 businesses. As you can imagine, the majority of them are retail businesses, but we do have quite a significant amount of service industry, like mortgage providers, letting agents and lawyers and whatnot, and also health industry is well represented in there as well, and the hospitality, which seems like a smaller percentage there, but they are very important, like every business, but they are very important to the town centre as well. So that's the area of the business improvement district. Now we have a board, is how this works, a board of directors, you would imagine, that okay. Somebody's texting me saying my volume's too low, so we're trying to make sure it's kind of clear. And Adam, if you can't hear me, just give me a nudge or something. So we've got a board of directors, and these people, I mean, they're unpaid directors, so we're very, very grateful for what they bring to the business improvement district. We're a very lean operation in terms of staff costs, with just myself that gets a wage, and I've got Leslie, who's a very important part of the team, does our admin as part time. So that's who we have. It's a mix of very highly experienced and skilled people within our board who support the initiatives in the town centre. And recently we had the pleasure of appointing a new chairperson, and that's Joann Smith, whose business is Excel Letting in Cadzo Street. Now, by the power of Zoom, let's see if Joanne's on, and if she wants to say anything. Joann, if you're there and if this is all working properly, is anything you want to say?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Hi,
Can you
Joann.
hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't sure if you were hearing me. Yeah. Hi everyone. As Malcolm said, I'm Joann Smith. I own Excel Sales and Letting down in Cadzo Street, amongst all the many other estate agents in the town. Recently, obviously, been elected as chair of the BID. I've been a member of the board for about 7 or 8 years now. After realising the benefit that the BID brought to the town, and the benefits that it helped with my business, so I thought I want to be part of that and help make that better. The events that they've brought to the town, the encouragement of making people shop local, bringing more business to the town, all the stuff that we've benefited from, shopfront grants, free PPE, the classic car shows that they bring to the town, Ready Steady Gallop, all the various different events that they've brought, I feel have helped generate Hamilton, and being a part of that is something that I want to do. I've recently been elected as chair, so hopefully I'll be able to continue following in the footsteps of our predecessor Mark Calpin at the Holiday Inn. We're always on the lookout for new board members, so if any of you are interested in helping, have any ideas and things that you want to do to help the businesses, help promote the town, then we're always welcome. Feel free to contact me or Malcolm, and we can deal with that. I know that Malcolm's got obviously this fabulous presentation ready for us all today, so tell us all about the things that have happened, that we've done for the BID so far, what the BID's done for the town so far, how we've had to adapt because of COVID, lockdown restrictions, businesses being closed, and obviously the plans for the future. So I'll pass you back to Malcolm. He'll go through all that, and I'm aware that there's some time for questions as well. So hopefully you'll all have some questions ready, and he'll be able to help you with that.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Joann. Okie doke. And just on the screen there, you probably can't see Davey McLachlan, who's also on our board because the way Zoom configures it. So that's our board, and very much thank you to the board from me for the participation, because absolutely couldn't do it without them. So and as Joann says, always looking out for new board members. Okie doke. Right. So we'll fly through these slides and then we'll pause for questions shortly. Right. So kind of sum up what on earth is it we do, what do we get up to. So generally speaking, and this is a top line, we'll go through the detail a little bit later on, but top line is marketing the town, events to drive footfall, it's a voice for our businesses, lots of business improvement initiatives and initiatives as agreed by the business plan. But ultimately, we're called a business improvement district, so we should be improving business in the district. So that's kind of like simplifying what we do by any means possible. That is the mission there. And as I say, we're very grateful to the businesses in the town centre that pay an annual levy each year. We know times are incredibly challenging at the moment for everybody, so we're very grateful for the contribution. The average levy is around £312 per year, works out about £26 per month. Some businesses pay more than that, some pay less. It's based upon the rateable value of the property, and we do get a contribution from South Lanarkshire Council as well that supports some of our events. Okie doke. Now, without absolutely boring you to tears with regards all the ins and outs of the finances, I thought I'd prepare some top line stuff for you. So the sort of confusing thing is we're looking back at the moment at the year 1920, which seems like well, it was a lifetime ago really now. So it started in 1st of November 2019 and ended at the 31st of October 2020. So that was the last financial year. So I just wanted to touch upon that. Right to do so. I'm sure you'd agree in the AGM to have a look back at that. So in terms of the money we got in that year from the bid levy, you can see the figure on the screen. That was down on the previous year. Now, how it's all kind of splitting up and what we're doing with the money, we will see that as I go on. But just to kind of look at some of this, so running costs £118,000. So what on earth is all that? So we've got things like our digital marketing management within there. We've got planters that we run and manage and maintain in the town centre that get attention every single month. Lots of usual business costs in there, and the salary of the bid manager and the admin person within that. So there's lots of stuff that form part of that running costs. But you'll see in the next slide some activity with regard to running costs that I'll go through in a second. So event costs is there, Christmas light switch on and that sort of thing, reindeer parades and all that kind of stuff that went on, and so on and so forth. You can see where we're at. But I thought it would be also quite good to tell you how much money we're spending this year so far. So that started, I suppose it's really the first month that I kind of came in properly. So we've spent £56,000 so far, invested that in the town centre. And we've had some additional funding, which we were delighted to be able to get from Scottish Towns Partnership and from South Lanarkshire Council. That came to around £45,000 and enabled us to carry out some of the activity that we'll go through in a second. Okie doke. So financial management is, as always in any business, an important topic, and particularly now more than ever. When I came into the business, and I'm sure you've all had to do this, you've all had to look at how you adapt to COVID, looking at all the different aspects of your costs. So that's what's happened. I have completed a financial review in the last couple of months, renegotiated contracts, even changed the supplier, and we've taken on quite a substantial amount of additional work in-house to improve quality and control, to be honest with you. But it also has had the dual win-win effect of saving costs and being able to give money back into the investment of the town. And we've also been able to diversify what we offer. So all of this will be explained as we go, but I just wanted to go through that. We have been really on it in terms of our costs, like you would have been as well in your business. Just to very briefly summarise in terms of those running costs, so we've managed now to make a reduction of 12% annually of our running costs, and we've had a cost saving of £6,500 over this latest lockdown period. So that's been basically through, again, doing what any business would do and really drilling down on the costs and getting the best deals possible for our levy payers. So again, looking quickly and summarising through the activities of 1920, I'm conscious that I think it's important we talk about the future rather than too much around the past, but it is important to reflect back. So key activities of 1920 is the Christmas light switch on events. We had reindeer parades, lots of activity around Christmas, festive lighting, additional lighting that the bid gets brought in, further investment in Wi-Fi for the town hall and the ability to count footfall, lots of marketing around COVID, reopening during spring, social distancing, equipment, stickers, advice, grant support. That has been a lot of what the bid's been doing. Prior to my time, I have to say, when I joined in late 2020, that has been the key activity of the bid through the period 1920 up to October. And just to look back at some of the success of that period, and it seems like a lifetime ago that people could actually come together in a big crowd like that, and I can't wait to do that again. To be honest, I'm sure we're all the same, but the reindeer parade, big event in the town centre. I think that's 5 doing their thing. the reindeers, Santa Claus and all the rest of it. So that brought a lot of people into the town centre in that particular period, as we always tend to do. And Joann mentioned herself around car shows and all the rest of it that the BID has done in the past, but sadly has been restricted for obvious reasons. So now's the time I can take a pause and just check in with anybody if anybody's got any questions or comments at all. And if you don't, it's okay, but open for questions just now. Maybe just unmute and just go for it. No, that's okay. Right, well, there'll be plenty of other opportunities as we go through. And hopefully you're all still with me and not not falling asleep at this early point. Righty-ho, cool, next. Right, so what have we been doing then? So let's get a bit more up to date, a bit of a look back at what we've been getting up to, because again, it's really important because you pay the levy. It's important for us to tell you how you're getting a return in that investment. So what have we been doing? Right, here we go. Here's technology now. Hopefully this works. Let's see. There's a wee video I'm going to try and play. Right, so first and foremost, we started off with a big shop local campaign online. We commissioned a series of videos that we put out across our social media channels in November and December to promote the town centre. That reached over 150,000 people, which was amazing. The purpose of doing that wasn't just to do that kind of stuff around making people see how good the town centre was. It was also to drive people onto businesses' websites as well, because we're really conscious of the fact that online was going to be really vitally important, particularly through Christmas and any other potential lockdowns. So we had a huge success in terms of the numbers there. And we also had 5,000 recorded hits through the BID channels onto businesses' websites. So that was a big success for us. Now let's see if I can pause this. It doesn't go again. See if we can get to the next slide. Yes, it worked. Good. I kept freezing before, so I'm glad I've got through that. Right, so we had 5,000 clicks in businesses' websites. We don't know how much money people spent in businesses through the BID. They may have spent money, they may not. We've got to assume that they would have done having 5,000 clicks through. We also increased our social media following by 1,500 people. That is important because a lot of what the BID's now doing is utilising our marketing power for businesses. And we'll talk a bit about that later on. And those of you that know the initiatives we've been doing of late, it's quite focused heavily in marketing. We've got a lot of value we can add to businesses through that. So we increased our followers substantially. And we're looking to do that again through the course of this year as well. So on top of that, and I'm going to go quite at pace here around the stuff we've been doing. Town centre report. So I walked up and down the town centre in January and made a report with regard to the look and feel of the town centre. Really, really important to our levy payers that the look and feel of the town centre is really good. We did a survey back in January, February time. Must have been January, and we asked levy payers, what do you want from us? And the number one thing was improving the look and feel of the town centre. So we did that. We wandered around, and made this huge report to report back to South Lanarkshire Council. And working in partnership with the council, we have together resolved a lot of those issues that we've identified. But there's a bit of a way to go. But it is working in the right direction. So a lot of that stuff that we did as part of that report is things like the painting of what we call the sails in the town square, cleaning, pressure washing, painting the bandstands, a lot of the street furniture stuff, cleaning, waste removal. So a whole bunch of stuff that I'm really pleased to see when I'm walking up and down the BID area that it's getting there. And it kind of shows the power of a good, strong relationship with the council. And absolutely, we thank the council for their collaboration and work, because ultimately they're paying the money to do this piece of work, and they've responded to those to that report. But on top of that as well, each week and each day really, I go around monitoring everything, making reports about rubbish being left. And again, today there's quite a lot in the town centre that's been reported. So it's just making sure that there's somebody there who cares about the town centre. And a lot of those issues get resolved really, really quickly. Okay, on top of that, PPE, we've given out £6,000 worth of PPE so far. So next week, myself and Leslie will be up and down the businesses again with £100 packs, handing them out to businesses that have requested them and more. That's one of the things that it's a pleasure to be able to hand over a £100 pack of PPE, because we know that businesses need this material, and it helps them with their costs as well. And we are able to get it at a really good price through our supplier. So a bit more about kind of marketing, and those who don't use us for marketing, please take note of what we can do. So nearly every single week of lockdown, we have provided a business update to our levy payers on things like social distancing information or grant information. There were so many grants at one point. I'm sure you'll remember all. What can I get? How on earth do I apply for this? What button do I click? Where do I go? So we were able to sort of say, you know what, we'll kind of put that all in the one section. We'll put it out each week, and we'll also put that information out on Facebook to try our best to make sure that none of the big businesses where we could missed out on getting their grants. So we'll try to be as proactive as possible with that. And as I say, around 80 businesses per week opened our business updates, and we'll continue to do that where we feel necessary. So we won't wait for months to end until we communicate. We'll communicate in a very agile manner. Business marketing. So this is one of the things that I think will be one of the main pillars of what we can do going forward. So each week we have been showcasing a business in the town centre and putting it out to our subscribers. Now we've got 12,500 subscribers. They don't all open it. It would be wrong of me to suggest that they all open these emails, but we do get at least 2,000 openings of our emails. It's usually more than that, but 2,500 really a week. So if you've got a business, you can say to me, can you create a profile, put it on your website, put it on Facebook, put it out to subscribers, put a link onto whatever you want there, and that's hitting 2,000 people at least. It gives us a great additional tool and a piece of value there. And when you look at the likes of Hamilton Advertiser, well regarded and well known, beloved brand in the town centre, their circulation's around about 4,000 a week at the moment. So just to put that in comparison in terms of value. And on top of that, we've got our digital marketing, which we'll talk more about as we go. But on average, we get about 130,000 the reach on that each month, and businesses work closely with us on the marketing of the businesses, and we can do a whole host of stuff which we'll talk about in a second. So we've been doing that as a key part of our strategy. Now let's see, there's a few videos here to show you examples of our video marketing. So we've brought video marketing into what we do very much. So these are some examples on screen of ones that we can now complete in-house. So this is the ones that basically I do and I edit and put them out. And this basically enables any business to say to me, can you do a video? I've had one call just like 10 minutes before this Zoom today of a prominent levy payer that you all know saying, can you please come in? My store's opening on Monday. I really need a video. So there's real value. Certainly the levy payers are telling me anyway, there's real value to these videos, and it really helps a marketing campaign. And we can do that without any cost. We don't have to go out to a supplier and say, we're going to commission a video. I'll just do it myself. I've got the equipment, I've got the editing tools, I've got the Canva app for the graphics, so crack on and do it. So that's added quite a lot of benefit. We've got our marketing that we did it over Christmas, and we'll continue to do so. So just to point out, I've got Alison on the call. we'll see that that's Alison's, what she does there for us, a street light. You can't really see, it's hidden behind everybody, and then the buses as well. So yeah, we do lots of marketing out with the town centre, because people are already in the town centre, so we kind of want them to come in, is the idea. So that's more of a traditional marketing, but we also use press and obviously that digital aspect as well. And that's part of you can see there, that's our Christmas campaign, which we did there at Christmas. Extra lighting again, we always get the extra lighting in, particularly Quarry Lane and round about Cadswell Street, to enhance what the council put up. Our free Wi-Fi that I'm sure you know about. We want to have that in the town centre. We know that customers like to use it. People in the town centre, when they're working, they want to get on the free Wi-Fi and sit in cafes and stuff, increase the dwell time, make it a nice environment for people to come into and enjoy being in the town centre. So we provide free Wi-Fi. We've got our town centre planters that we mentioned earlier, bringing colour to the town centre. And on top of all that, shopfront grants, so businesses can say to us, we want to improve the look of our shopfront. There's some rules and regulations, as you would imagine, to get the grant, but we take great pleasure in providing businesses with up to £1,000 to improve their shopfront look, and that obviously helps all of us if the town centre is looking really, really good and all the businesses are refreshed and looking well. So in the last, certainly in the time I've been in the bid, we've had £3,000 we've given out. I've had around 10 businesses who've applied currently for ones. We'll be working through that with them and looking forward to progressing that. So that's another tool, another bit of value we can add. So that's a summary there of the stuff we're doing. I'm not going to read it all, but that's a lot of what we have been kind of getting up to over the lockdown period. That stuff there, and a lot of planning and organising around the reopening, which I'm going to go into in a minute or two. So again, apologies for going on with slides and rambling on, but I wanted to know if there's any questions or comments or anything at all that anybody has so far.
Malcolm, the only thing that I wanted to ask was a question that we get asked on a regular basis, and you guys will have had this over the years. Town centre car parking, and I know that the bid can only gently influence or persuade the council. Is there any negotiation or any move on that once we get back to any level of normality?
No, listen, that's a really good point, and that's the parking is such a hot topic, and quite rightly so. Yeah, so at the moment, I'm waiting for full confirmation on what is going to happen in terms of the reopening. My understanding is currently the car parks from South Lanarkshire Council are free, but that is due to change, I believe, potentially next week, although I'm waiting for that final confirmation. Duke Street car park will be free after 3, which is a little bit of movement. So to take your point there around what we can do, but I think it's one of these ones that we need to work together on. There's going to be a bit later on about us working together in business groups and the formation of business groups, so how we can get our voice heard in a stronger manner, perhaps. So yeah. So look, I think I'll be updating everybody to the usual kind of channels around parking as soon as I get that absolute confirmed information, and that definite stuff about the free after 3. But certainly, whilst that's not what, at the end of the day, people want the parking to be free. So I'm not saying that's a wonderful thing, but there is some movement, and I know my predecessor Gareth pushed hard to get some movement on that, and I think that is from the work that him and the board did.
I just say something at this point, Malcolm. Can you hear me?
I hear you, Jim. Go for it.
Hi. It's just to let everyone know that the council undertook a kind of full review of the parking strategy in the town. Now, the bid made some strong representations on that, and we met with the council. One of the big concerns was the previously unconsulted move from pay on foot to pay on display, and we were trying very hard to get them to go back to either ANPR or pay on foot. Now, we've not seen that report yet, I don't think, Malcolm. I think with everything that's been going, it's been suspended, so we're still waiting to see the outcome of that. But car parking is something that we are, as a board, very much concerned about, and we do make regular representations to the council about it.
Malcolm, can I just come in here? I had my hand up there, but maybe you're not seeing that, but
No, I don't see it. Sorry, Dave, is that you? Yep, go for it.
Hi, David.
There was a working group set up, and there's just an email coming today, funnily enough, from Colin Park, just explaining the situation as of Monday. As retail is open, as you know, the Duke Street car park will be open, and it will be back to paying with free after 3. They're going to have a relaxed approach for the first 2 weeks, but also the method of paying that you just mentioned there, Jim, that really didn't work for people. So many people were against that because it made it difficult. You come to the town centre, you stick £1 in the meter, and if you wanted to stay longer, you couldn't, and it drove people away. I know it did. So that was part of the discussion of the working group, and that's now been reverted back to pay on exit. Plus, we've incorporated, as part of the working group and the discussions that we had, we've incorporated Ringo, where you can actually use an app to pay for your parking, so you can stay and you can top it up if you're in a shop or you meet someone, you're in a restaurant, whatever you're doing, you can decide to stay longer and you can top that up from your app. And as Malcolm has mentioned there, it's free after 3 as well. So it'd be great to have free parking. Short of free parking, this is moved in that direction. And previously, I have discussed with Gareth. Gareth was quite disappointed with the way the consultation had been handled, and the feedback that came back to the council was quite disappointing the way that it came across, and that was part of the job of the working group to look at that, and thankfully we come back with these measures. These were acceptable to everyone on the group. You need to think of Hamilton as a part of South Lanarkshire, and the running of Duke Street car park is a multi-storey car park, and there is quite an expense there, so there is you do need an income to pay for the maintenance of the car park. So, we're making the argument to make the car parking free. There's different councils in different areas throughout South Lanarkshire. So hang on a wee second. How come we're going to be subsidising a free car park in Hamilton? So best efforts were made, and I think this will make a difference. Let's wait and see when the town centre opens back up again. I'm really, really hopeful. I know that it makes it, certainly as a town centre user myself, it's much more favourable under this reverting back to the system that Jim spoke about when that was changed, plus the introduction of Ringo. I pushed for that quite hard, and they looked, because there was difficulties with doing that because you've got a barrier operated system there, so that had some technical issues. We looked at ANPR as well, but currently local authorities don't have powers to use ANPR in order to find people and things like that, so that was a bit of a difficulty, but automatic number plate recognition, in case anyone didn't know what that meant there. So we've moved, I think we've moved in a direction that's better than it was before. It's, free parking would be great, but I think this is the next best thing we can get. I hope that's helpful, Malcolm.
Yeah, that's fantastic, because that obviously just hot off the press, so thank you very much for coming in there. And if anybody does have any questions, I can't see you raising your hand, so just unmute yourself and just say I've got a question. That'd be great. Okie doke. Does anybody have any other questions before we move on at all?
Malcolm, see if it's helpful. I can forward this email to you, and then you could distribute it to people who have got an interest. Is that okay? Ideal.
Thank you, Davey.
I'll do that just now.
Cool. Okie doke. Right, plenty more time for questions anyway, so if anybody thinks of stuff, feel free. Okie dokie. So I think it'd be worthwhile just thinking about and reflecting on how COVID may have impacted the town centre before we look at what we're going to try and do about it. So we know that many businesses have been impacted. You can't really say that it's potentially just one type, but we know hospitality have been particularly hardest hit, and that's from data from the Office of National Statistics. So we know, and it's common sense to figure that one out, because they've pretty much been closed for a large part of the time. So that's been quite challenging, to say the least, for the town centre. Of course, as you'd imagine, we've had a significant footfall decline now. In terms of measuring footfall, the BID now does have the ability to measure it. So we can now, going forward, be able to articulate some of these figures as we go forward. I'm looking forward to be able to talk about improvements to footfall as well, but we've had substantial decline. But one thing, and I don't want to kind of diminish how tricky this is and how devastating it has been in many aspects of life, but to look at a positive, of course, we're reopening next week, but to look at any sort of positive out of this horrific situation is that a lot of town centres and city centres have been impacted by a lot of the big retailers closing, such as Debenhams and Topshop, Topman, Dorothy Perkins, Arcadia Group businesses, and a whole host of businesses that has very, very sadly closed. And Hamilton is not in that position. We don't have, thankfully, the large department store that is just closed because, or just about to close because of COVID. So there's some positive aspect of that there to reflect on and think about. We've also got the good news around the Premier Inn that of course will be opening spring summer. 96 rooms there. It'll undoubtedly bring footfall and business customers, and also people maybe on staycations potentially visiting Lanarkshire. So it's a good opportunity there. So I think whilst things have been dreadful and things are going to be really tough going, there's a good foundation, there's a resilience there. And then now we need to make sure the BID needs to do everything we can and together as a group to support each other to move forward. So it's quite challenging and really, really important next 6 months. So stuff that we're doing, activities that we're going to be doing, some of this is stuff we've tried and tested before, but yet again, I'll go through it and I'll go through it at pace and I'll ask for questions and comments at the end. So, right, first and foremost, PPE, back to that worked really, really well. So back out again, handing out those packs, particularly useful for hospitality and for like hairdressers and barbers and whatnot that use an awful lot of that. But anybody that needs it will be out there and handing it out from Monday. Leslie, if you put your walking shoes on, I'm sure you'll be ready. Get your trainers on. We'll get round again. Marketing, right? So we are partnered with Hamilton People magazine. Some of you may be familiar with it. It's quite a new magazine, and we've got 9 pages on that goes out to 5,000 homes. It's going out this week. It's on social media as well. We offered BID businesses a free advert, and we had around 20 businesses come back to us asking for that opportunity. But on top of that, there's several pages on about shop local, love local, and to come back to the town centre. So that's an initiative that's going out this week and hopefully drives that message of please, we need you to come back and support our local stores. We've got the use of the Duke Street car park in terms of marketing. So we've got billboards in there. So I kind of thought, you know what, why not let our BID businesses use them? So we've got 10 billboards that we have offered up to BID businesses each month. They can request use of those billboards. In month 1, we'll be getting these up tomorrow. There's a picture there of some of them about to go up and ready to go, and an example on the screen there of Phoenix Tattoo. So that gives another element of marketing, completely as part of the levy and paid for by the BID. Watch out this Friday for a bit of a splash in terms of a new video marketing campaign. And now this one we did commission Made in Scotland to carry this marketing campaign out in terms of video production. So this will kind of match the activity that we were very successfully driving through the Christmas period that we knew went so well. So the guys have been out filming in the town centre last week, visiting many, many businesses. That'll be going out on the BID channels from Friday evening and also on Hamilton Advertiser social media channels as well. And we hope to smash our 150,000 reach target that we got the last time. And it's all about re-engaging the businesses with the town centre. And I'm not going to kind of spoil any of it, but we're going to have lots of it going out, lots of really, really pushing it over the next, over the weekend and the next week around getting people to re-engage with the town centre. And it's been a pleasure also to work with Made in Scotland, who is also a levy payer as well. Now, I mentioned a wee second ago when we were talking about car parking, about town centre groups. And this is something I'm quite keen on exploring. So what we've done is I've started what I've called the Quarry Street Action Group. Primarily, it's the main street in the town centre, and the idea behind it is it enables me and us to come together and talk about what needs to happen and what we need to do, and come up and collaborate and come up with positive ideas together. So rather than initiatives being made up by one or two people or a group of people, has been made up by the businesses themselves, and they're working together. So we had a really, really good meeting by Zoom, sadly, a few weeks ago. We've came up with a lot of different stuff that we're kind of working through, and I'm hoping to take that format into other areas of the town as well. Could be by sector, or it could be by street. We just need to see how it goes. That then the BID can manage that, and then we can start creating these town centre groups. So we've got a real strong voice around what we need to do. It's not just the BID, it's the BID and it's the Quarry Street Traders Group, for example. So that's been one of the initiatives that we're working on. The look and feel of a town centre, as I said, flagged by our levy payers is vitally important. They've asked us to make sure the place is looking good for reopening. So of course, we've been working with the council. Part of that as well is the work we've done with the improvements in terms of the look of the former Baird's building. So I'm sure you're probably keen to find out what is actually happening with that building. So you probably know that Wetherspoons bought it. Now, my understanding is that they're not planning to start any work until the kind of end of the year. Obviously, that's up to them. If they're building, they've bought it. That's certainly my understanding from the last time I spoke to them, and that will all be dependent on how they want to manage their business. So in the meantime, we've covered up the front. We have the ability with the sections that's kind of like flags, almost like banners, to actually turn them into some additional marketing areas. So if we've got any sort of different initiatives we're going to do, we can cover them up with a different kind of campaign, and ultimately provides a dual aspect of marketing that we may have spent money on in the past with billboards. Now we can do it with the use of this large space, but also improve the area, the look and feel of it. So that's an actual initiative. We had not expected to have done this quickly, but thanks to our friends at Taylor Media, we managed to pull it off quicker than expected. Mentioned hospitality. Now, as I say, they've had a heck of a time, to say the least, in terms of what they've had to go through. So we're keenly aware of the support that these businesses may need. So what we're doing is lots of stuff we're doing for hospitality at the moment. Also the PPE, video marketing, all the rest of it. That aside, we've got the loosening or the relaxation of rules with regard seating in the outdoor areas. So we're kind of working with businesses on what they can do with their outdoor seating from next week, and working in conjunction with South Lanarkshire Council, just to make sure that if a business wants to do something, that they have a process and they feel comfortable and confident about the initiatives that they're taking if they're using additional outdoor seating space. We're also, as the information's coming through from the government, we are also going to be providing information and updates to the businesses as we go in and see them around what the rules are and the restrictions and the latest guidance, to make sure they're not missing out on anything. As restrictions start to hopefully ease, we want to make sure that they're the first to know that no longer maybe 1 metre or whatever it may be. So we're working closely with those businesses. On top of that, there's a couple of projects we've got on the go with regards to seating. One in particular, a smaller one in Campbell Street, whereby the aim is to create a bit of an anchor down that side of the town centre. And by anchor, I mean an area that people will go to, that will drive footfall into. So you think of an anchor, you've got likes of Marks and Spencer's, you've got Primark, but they're maybe up at Quarry Street. What about Cadswell Street? So looking at Cadswell Street, we kind of thought, there's a bit of an opportunity here with a little space at Campbell Street to ensure that the businesses that have outdoor seating are supported. So we've been supporting those Campbell Street businesses and getting ready for reopening, and we will helping them market like we'll do with any other business. We'll be helping market the area as a bit of a trial around what we can do around outdoor seating. We've managed to work with the council on getting a little bit of extra space. It's not an awful lot, but it's a little bit, just to enable some of these businesses to trade next Monday, and a great pleasure in doing that. So we'll be monitoring that closely, including any results with footfall and any success from that project or learning from that project will be applied to future projects through the course of the year. So that's Campbell Street. Service industry, I mentioned them right at the start around them forming quite a large element of the bid. And the very fact we've got a new chairperson in Joann who works in the industry will bring her knowledge and expertise to the bid. And I think that's a fantastic asset having Joann on board. But on top of that, and that aside, the stuff that we can really do and what we're getting told by the service industry businesses is they want to use us for our marketing, and we've got 7,000 Facebook followers, 12,500 subscribers, and that's just at the moment. We've got targets to far exceed that. We want to get to 10,000 Facebook subscribers by the end of this year and become really powerful in terms of our marketing. So we can continue the work around our monthly business features. We've also got the opportunity to do work on our website, which we're going to talk about in a second, around businesses and marketing. So it could be that maybe there's like a property of the month. It could be a one they really want to showcase, or one maybe they've got a hard time moving on, whatever way it may be, or a service, maybe will writing, or whatever that may be they've got on the go, that they can come to us and say, look, we don't need to go and spend money advertising. This lot can actually reach at least 2,000 people a week, and and through our boosted Facebook campaigns and video, we can do an awful lot for them in terms of their marketing. So that's what we're doing now. But we're very, very keen to work with our service industry businesses and listen and learn about anything else we can do to support through this period and beyond. So, other stuff, and touching on that conversation I've just had there and how we're supporting with marketing. So we have looked at our social media channels, and I've been clearly coming into this job role reviewing our content and reviewing for opportunities and what we can do to support our levy payers. And it's absolutely great delight that I have to say that we're going to be working in the next couple of months with Hamilton Levy Payer Company made in Scotland, whose office I'm currently sitting in right now, to ensure that this presentation goes well. So we're delighted to partner up with a levy payer on the management of our social media. And what we're wanting to bring to our social media is that real local element, and as it says on the slide there, to capture what's going on in the town centre in a really in a way that promotes the brand of Hamilton, in a really positive way. There's so many positive things about Hamilton. I know there's lots of challenges, I'm not blind to that, but there's so many positive things as well. And it's important that when we're looking at selling the town centre via our marketing channels, that we represent the town in a really positive way. So we've re-engaged we've engaged with this new partner, and we are really looking forward to stepping up our social media with regard to that local community content, and also using higher end camera equipment and techniques that we'll bring to the party, as it were. On top of that, we're going to have a brand new website that we're launching at the start of June, and the beauty of that enables us to mould and shape what we want on the website, and will enable us to have sections there. We're just talking about service industry businesses, so I'll be working with Made in Scotland, who we've partnered with, to look at what we can do around creating real value for our levy payers in terms of our website, and using it as a marketing tool. I think it was something like 12,500 people clicked on the website at Christmas, through all the marketing activity, which was, I have to say, substantially up in previous months, or something like, prior to our marketing initiatives, were a couple of hundred were clicking through. Now we've got really good sustained levels, and I think that people know that we're here now and that we have a website. It's fantastic, and that we're going to go that level up with the quality that we will provide. And just to say that what's on screen is a mock-up of what we'll have there. That obviously it'll be a town centre shot on our main kind of landing page, as it were. So I appreciate lots of talking from me, so nearly then we'll get to some questions in a second. So we've got an app we're working with South Lanarkshire Council on. So this is a South Lanarkshire Council initiative, totally funded by the council. They've rolled this app out in many South Lanarkshire areas, but I've seen this as a fantastic opportunity for the BID to kind of jump on. When I heard they had an app coming out, I thought, well, wait a wee minute, can we get involved? So there'll be more on that as the weeks and months go by, but we're aiming to have this app launched by summer. Basically, what the app will do, it will provide customers the opportunity to find all the levy-paying businesses, all the BID businesses in one area. I'll be able to put push notifications out to customers. If you've got a promotion on and you're on the app, we'll be able to put those push notifications out. If you're a really small business and you don't really use things like QR codes, or you're not really up with your tech, we can actually, via this app, do little promotions for you. Like, when you go into a coffee shop, you could do a little card and collect points and get money off or a free coffee. This app has lots of little functions that are they're very good actually for BID businesses if they want to use them. So this provides a little other element of marketing and exposure that I'm pleased to have been able to collaborate with South Lanarkshire Council on getting access to this platform. So that'll be launching spring, summer, and you'll all be informed via our usual channels when that starts to come out. Okay, only a few slides after this, you'll be pleased to know I'm doing okay for time, amazingly. 5 to 5. Is there any questions or comments at this point? And this speak, if you don't need to put your hand up because I can't see you. No? Okay, as long as...
Malcolm, sorry. Hi, Malcolm, can you hear me? It's Tom Riley here.
Tom, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good. Thanks very much for inviting me along today.
Not at all.
You met, obviously, from the sort of hospitality aspect. I work for a company called Star Pubs, and we have we're pub landlords in effect, and I've got 3 pubs in Hamilton. One is the Butterburn, one's Bar West, and one's the Stonehouse. And on the Stonehouse, we're looking to invest 150 grand.
Fantastic.
June, July time in terms of doing it up and a managed operation in there. Have you any indication in terms of maybe the Beefeater when they're going to actually start trading?
My understanding is that it will be around the same time as the Premier Inn opens, which is kind of, I know it's a bit vague, of spring, summer, but there's no date that I have announced yet. I suppose they'll be waiting like everybody else to see when things are viable, but I would expect it, in the coming couple of months.
Right, okay. And it's great in terms of the tables that we're looking at for the Stonehouse. That's great. So hopefully, all being well, we'll be recruiting a manager to join us, I guess, around about June time.
Right.
We'll be closing the business maybe for 4 weeks, maybe 6 weeks with the relaunch. Because I also know that Hawthorne Leisure, who own the George, I think they're doing a small refurbishment as well. So we're just trying to regenerate that area.
Listen, that's great news, Tom, because I've seen the pictures, by the way, of the Stonehouse as the refit, so it's going to look fantastic. I think, that's such an asset down there because of that pedestrianised area, and on that street, estate agents, lawyers, and everything like that. It's got a great opportunity. So I was really pleased when I was speaking to your colleague John. I think it was around the work that we're going to do there. So we're delighted to be able to support your business and any other business that needs support as well in terms of hospitality.
Good, thank you very much.
No problem, Tom. Okie doke. Excellent, good. Well, I'll go into the last section, and hopefully none of you have fallen asleep. And again, forgive me for all these slides. I hate it. Usually we're in a room and we'll be talking to each other in a more natural way. Next year we'll get back to that, but thanks for bearing with me almost to the end now. Okie doke, so that's kind of what we've been doing and some of the initiatives we've got planned. I just wanted to tell you some of the stuff we would like to do that kind of not firmed up yet, but we're kind of working on it just now, that we kind of really hope we can pull it off. There's a few of these on the go. There's a lot more, but some of them are so far down the line, I've not included them here. So the first one, Quarry Lane. So you probably know Quarry Lane. It's kind of hidden away off Quarry Street. So we've been working, in fact, it was actually on the Quarry Street Action Group call that this actually came up, the conversation I was having with those members. And we're talking about how that lane's really, really hidden away. And let's be honest, it isn't in best of condition. So we're working on a project around making that look like a really interesting lane now. By that I mean kind of quirky looking. We're going to use some art, an artist to do some painting. We're going to use tailored media again, actually, hopefully, to do some work with the signage to really promote that it's there. And as a customer walking down Quarry Street, hopefully the idea is you turn around and go, oh, what's going on here? And you walk into the lane and it doesn't look unloved. Yes, we can't fix everything about it, but what we can do is we can work with the businesses and understanding what they need and what they want, and stuff like artwork and working with local people can really, really bring up an area. So that is one of the initiatives we're kind of hoping to get in place for the schools going off on holiday. And I know they're just back, in July. So it's kind of more kids focused as well down that lane. So that's one of the wee projects we've got. One of the bigger projects I have is a market down the middle of Quarry Street. So the concept of this is that the BID would pay for around 30 to 35 stalls that we would then say to our levy payers, would you like a stall? Well, this is not, we're going to do this market and lots of people are going to come in from another town and take all our money. That's not what this is at all, because I know that does sometimes happen in other locations. This is actually not that. It's, we've got this initiative for you. If you want to have a stall on Quarry Street, you can have it. Now, if we don't get every single stall filled up, we will work with local suppliers who do not compete with our businesses to bring another element to the town centre in terms of what we can offer our customers. And the idea is that this would be every Saturday in August. Now, at the moment, nothing's been confirmed, and I tell you why that is. It's because I've not spoken to the businesses properly about this yet. So those businesses I could engage with, I have. But one of the things I'll be doing in the next 2 weeks is walking up and down Quarry Street, ensuring that the businesses in general feel that this would be a benefit to them. Certainly, there's been lots of positivity from businesses I've spoken to, but we want to make sure it's done in a way that it's not going to impact them negatively. Otherwise, that completely is counterproductive to what we're trying to achieve. So, as I say, it's not confirmed yet, but that's one of the key initiatives over the summer. Hopefully, it will drive footfall into the town centre as well on those days. And if it works out, we can then look at keeping the market, maybe having to move the location because of traffic, but keeping a market in place if it increased footfall into the town centres and our levy payers are getting money in the till ultimately and additional income through it. On top of that, we've got community groups now. We're sorely lacking community groups in the town centre, and I've been really keen to link up with as many kind of like-minded people as I can. So thankfully we've got quite a few board members that have got connections, and we've recently been very privileged to be invited on to a Zoom call with the congregation of St John's Church in the town centre, and we're hoping to work with St John's in creating like a town centre kind of litter picking group that the BID would manage, and it would be open to anybody that would have like maybe once a month going around litter picking, reporting graffiti, whatever form it may take, is just to show actually people do love the town centre. Yes, there's challenges, but actually there's a group of us that love this town centre and we're looking out for it. And that's something I feel we really, really need to have, and I'll take great pleasure in organising, supporting that kind of initiative. And I think the last thing just to run through in terms of initiatives is the Vogue building. You'll all be familiar with Vogue down at the bottom, Quarry Street, there, and it doesn't look great at the moment, it has to be said, but thankfully there's a fantastic initiative happening to basically retain the facade of that building and really turn it into housing. So the BID has been one of the partners with regard receiving the funding with regard to this project. Now, South Lanarkshire Council have done all the work for this, so I wouldn't profess to say that I've done really any great deal of work with regard to this project, but it's a delight to be, and it's a pleasure to be part of the funding process to enable the funding to come in to enable that project to happen. So once that moves forward, that will lift the area, for the customers in this town centre, and it's also bringing customers and people into the town centre and new customers, and certainly in terms of strategies up and down the UK. And if I had hours to talk about it, I would probably go on and on and on, but one of the key strategies of town centres and city centres is bringing housing back into town centres again, so people are there and we don't need to persuade them to come back. They're actually already there and they use the facilities in the town centre. So it's great that has that kind of win-win of improving the look, but also bringing people into the town. So 5:05, I've done better than I thought I would with the timings. To kind of summarise the stuff that we're going to do at the moment, and there's tons of other stuff that, as I say, that we're working on that's not quite ready to talk about. On the screen there is all the stuff that we're planning to do. But I think, the bottom one, I think, is one of the most important parts about, listening to the levy payers. And as I keep banging on when I'm seeing levy payers, is that you pay a levy, you need to get a return for that levy. So I am really keen on being able to demonstrate that return to our levy payers, and that could even be that, improving that look at the town centre and bringing more people in. And I'm also really looking forward to be able to demonstrate some KPIs with regard to footfall improvements and also financial aspects of how we're performing. I've been really unable to do that since I've started in the role. But that's something we're very much looking at incorporating and looking in how our business is performing financially, and is it improving? Is any of the BID work making any difference? That's the stuff that we'll be now looking to measure when we start to open up via having working groups like the Quarry Street group and the footfall counting available to us now, and having the year-on-year figures is going to be really, really good. So that is it. I can't believe I've managed to do it. Usually I rabbit on a lot more than that. I've got to the end. The signal's not disappeared, which is great. Thank you to the guys that made in Scotland. Thank you, Adam, for doing that. I've got plenty of time for questions, so we'll kind of open it up for as long as you want to be on the call for. So if there's any comments, questions, suggestions, and as I say, just unmute your mics. I can't see who's raising their hand.
I've got my hand up there, Malcolm, if you want me to start off.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen.
Is that okay? A couple of things actually, and I apologise, I don't know if anybody saw me jumping out my skin, but I think my child has actually sprained his foot in the stairs earlier on and nearly got the fright of my life there, but it seems to be okay. We're sitting with a bag of peas wrapped around the foot just now there, so apologies. First, Tom Riley, that's the first I've heard the news about the Stonehouse Bar, and that's absolutely fantastic. I worked in the Stonehouse Bar for a lot of years, a very long time ago, so it's absolutely brilliant to hear that. And like Malcolm was saying about town centre living, it is really vital that people are living in their town centres. Our town centres absolutely are really changing, and them being able to take a wee stroll along to Tom's New Bar in Hamilton once it's all refurbed and have a wee sit outside with the nice little lights and all that that Malcolm and the Quarry Street team are planning is just going to be absolutely fantastic. Malcolm as well, I need to say a big thank you to Malcolm. He's been amazing. He's been a bundle of enthusiasm. He's built some great relationships with the council, into the community as well, really reached into the community too, as well of course as his connections to the properties and the business owners and the town centre as well there. So Christmas lights, Campbell Street Group, prioritising beards, the town walkabouts as well, which I think probably comes from his time in retail previously as well. I remember the first thing I used to do every morning.
Walk round.
Check
the window. Check the front end. All that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Tom will be familiar with that as well, looking for all the lights out above the bar and stuff like that, all those bits and pieces, and it's great to have that wee bit of eye for detail. I think it's making a real difference there. I don't know if people know, but initially the town centre stuff kicked off way back in 2016. Looking at it, it was Christina McKelvey, that I think is actually here today, along with Angela Crawley, the MP, who did a big survey, Our Town, Your Voice. I wrote it down so that I made sure I got it right. So that was getting loads of feedback from people that lived in Hamilton. Opening up Quarry Street, the Vogue site, Malcolm talked about, the Hamilton Advertiser buildings that had been converted into flats and stuff there too. There's been a couple of other projects that haven't quite managed to come through, but actually it's going really well. And parking clearly was one of the really big issues that people saw as well there. So just to say something about parking really, really quickly there, I don't know if anybody mentioned it earlier because that was kind of when I did my bunk out, but they're bringing in free at 3, which will be a great thing for encouraging young people and parents into the town centre after school, people that wouldn't necessarily normally come, so you're looking at that being extra footfall. Duke Street car park as well, thank goodness it won't be pay on entry anymore, which sickened everybody's happiness, I think, at the time. And there's also the Ringo app as well, so once you're in the town centre you can extend the amount of time that you're staying and stuff too there. So lots of good things going on there too. But there was also some issues. Lockdown, it's been great to have free parking, but it was creating some issues as well in Quarry Street, and with a lot of the staff using the parking and people not being able to park as close to the shops. So it kind of gave us a wee bit of a taste of what problems might happen actually if it was full on free parking for all at all times there. Last of all, I just wanted to mention quickly that the council have a few different committees that they take decisions around town centre, so we look to officers to bring us forward reports, recommendations about things that we can do, how we can achieve stuff, and the councillors will kind of scrutinise that, ask questions, maybe make changes to it and pass policies. So quite regularly I'll send those through to Malcolm and the rest of the BID directors there so that they can get a wee look at anything that's particularly relevant that's coming up. So it's usually a community and enterprise committee and an executive committee that these things come through, but all these papers are public so people can go and look at them in the council website, and if you'd want to know about any updates and stuff, then get a hold of Malcolm and I'm sure that he will send them on to you there. But things like that, like the town centre action plan, any updates come through the committees there as well, updates in parking as well, stuff like the Scottish Government Town Centre Fund, so they kind of set aside back in 2019 50 million to give out to town centres to help improve them, and we managed to get about 2.5 million of that in South Lanarkshire, and they brought it back the next year as well, so that was kind of responsible for a lot of the projects too. So there's details in there about how different projects were chosen. It was for projects across South Lanarkshire and stuff as well, but I've got absolutely no doubt, Malcolm, that all the hard work that's going in from yourself, the directors and the businesses will definitely result in increased footfall for the town centre. Doing a brilliant job, everybody. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Stephanie. Much appreciated. Thank you. Right, is there any other questions at all or comments?
Can I say a few things, Malcolm, again? Yeah. First of all, obviously the BID have a range of collective experiences and we do work very well together, but we make decisions on how best to spend the money based on our experiences. What we generally lack is feedback from the levy payers themselves. So I think we would really strongly encourage the levy payers to give us feedback. If what we do works, if what we do doesn't work, we really need to know. So that information is invaluable to us. So I just encourage everyone to engage with Malcolm, engage with whoever you want, but that really is of fundamental importance. Second thing, and probably on a slightly positive note for the future, there's been a lot of kind of, how would I say it, some of the educated people, shall we say, in this world, in the retail sector, in particular in town centres, have forecast there will be a change to shoppers' habits. So they are expecting that people will be shopping local more. So we are hoping that this will be seen by people not going into Glasgow, but they will shop local in Hamilton. So hopefully there will be opportunities for businesses to sort of latch onto that and have a successful reopening. From a personal point of view, I work for Deborah. We've got 120 shops across the UK. All the ones that opened in the past 2 weeks, sales figures have been phenomenal. So there does seem to be a desire from people to get out and spend money. And lastly, on a very specific note, I know we've mentioned Quarry Place. I mean, as a BID, we've been concerned about Quarry Place for quite a while. Malcolm maybe isn't aware of this, but a year, 18 months ago, we spent quite a lot of time. We engaged with the local or representatives of the local owners. The BID funded local architects to prepare a scheme of improvement for that area that would involve the BID chipping in a third of the cost and the owners collectively putting in their share as well. Unfortunately, when the final costs came out, they were 3 times what the initial estimate was. So the various owners kind of backed off at that point, understand it was quite a huge financial commitment. So we're doing whatever we can. That is one of the reasons why we put that planter at the entrance to Quarry Place, just to provide a bit of focus, and hopefully people will stop and maybe notice that Quarry Place is there. It might work, we don't know, but I say we'll try these things. And again, feedback is really crucially important for us in that. That's my rant or my speech.
No, that's great. No, that's great, Jim. No, thank you. Just to echo that, feedback is fantastic to get, and we put a survey out, as I say, in January. We'll maybe keep doing that, but can't really beat going up and down, speaking to people face to face though, and listening, because we are, without sounding cheesy, we are you. We work for you. You know, we represent you. So, you know, use us and tell us what you want, really, you know. Okie doke. Any other questions or comments?
Malcolm, can I just come in quickly? We just add to some of the stuff that Stephanie said there. First of all, to say a thank you to the BID and all the work that you've done. Don't think for a second that the Town Centre Action Plan and the post-COVID recovery work that we're doing, myself and Angela Crawley with the council, will not include you. I had a visit to Hamilton this morning to talk about the Vulgate building and met Malcolm, so we had a great chat in the street, and some of the people that stopped me to have a chat to me about what's happening with that building, Hen, it was great to be able to give that bang up to date feedback, because Malcolm and I had just discussed some of it, and I had one of the councillors with me as well, so thanks for all of that. But it was just a bit about the shop local stuff that Jim was talking about. I do think that there'll be a bit of a sense of people coming back out, and there'll be some people who'll be fearful of that, but I do think when think about, I managed to go and visit a family member that I hadn't seen for a year on Saturday, and I think lots of people did that, and the sort of a sense of positivity that gave people. I see a bit of that with other things opening up as well, and it's about, you know, businesses trying to take full advantage of that and provide the services to do that. So I see a bit of that uplift happening in the town centre, but there's a bit of commitment for the Scottish Government around about town centre regeneration going forward. So as soon as I've got more details on that, Malcolm, I'll let you know about that, because we've always been successful of working together to get good bids in and getting some money into the town centre, and we intend to fully do that. The other thing was about the shop local, the Scotland Shop Local work as well. There's about £10 million proposed to go into that, and again, you know, that shop local label and the wee bits of money and the great extent that can work to really boost businesses for local businesses and for local footfall as well, I think will really make a difference. But I think there is a lot to be positive about. It's been a tough year for everybody. It's been just dreadful, but I think there's a few opportunities here, and I think the key word is community listening and working together, and that's certainly something, hopefully, you know, that I can offer the BID going forward too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Christina. And by the way, that Remnant Kings is going to be a hairdresser's. Does that answer your question from earlier?
We were standing in the street saying there's workmen in Remnant Kings.
I went over and asked and found the owner. Sounds good. I was
like, well, we'll go and ask them. So you obviously would have checked it out. So that's good.
Excellent. Right. Anybody else with anything else at all?
Malcolm, can I ask?
Hi, Alison. You've been strangely quiet, Alison. So come on, let's
sorry,
hear it.
I'm quiet. Hi everybody. Can I ask, you've been running the classic car show every year now, I think now for the past 5 years, Leslie, I think. I was just wondering if you were thinking about bringing it back again, maybe not this year, but next year, because it's getting people out with Hamilton in the surrounding areas to come into Hamilton as well. So I was just wondering, you know, because the classic car, we need to know in advance so that all the, you know, the participants would know about it. So
yes, yes is the answer. Absolutely. Obviously, it's a very popular event, so it would absolutely make sense to look at bringing that back again. Sadly, this year, for obvious reasons, we've not done it, but it'll be back.
Cool.
Cool. Thank you, Alison.
I'll keep Chris happy.
Malcolm, I've got a dead wee quick question. Sorry, I forgot to ask you. The Hamilton past and present, I'm just wondering if there's been any progress by going in and having a wee look at birds or anything. Not yet. Right. Okay. Thanks.
But you know, we will get there. We will get there with that. No, not yet. Anybody? Anything else? Okay, no, that's great. No, thank you very much. We've done really well for time today, so thank you very much. This, as I said at the start, we were recording this and providing the recordings worked and all that kind of thing. The intention is to put it out and make it available so people that couldn't